Listen to us. The land we pass through, it is exceedingly good. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land.
He will give it to us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, for they are bread for us. Their defense has departed from them. The Lord is with us. Do not fear them.
10 men saw giants. 2 men saw lunch. And because of that difference in vision, an entire generation was sentenced to die in the wilderness. This is the story of the spy who refused to panic, and how one man's faith changed the course of history. This story has been overlooked because we often focus on the miracle of the Red Sea or the fall of Jericho. But the 40 years of wandering in between, the missing generation, hinged entirely on a single scouting mission. In the book of Numbers, chapters 13 and 14, we find Israel at the threshold of everything they were promised. But when faced with the choice between the logic of fear and the logic of faith, the nation made a fatal error. Today, we aren't just retelling the story of Joshua and Caleb. We are dissecting the psychology of fear. Why do we often choose the wilderness we know over the promise we don't?
Men of Israel, you have been chosen for a sacred task. Go forth and do as the Lord commands.
It's the second year after the Exodus. The dust from Mount Sinai has just settled. The nation of Israel, roughly 2 million strong, is camped in the wilderness of Paran. They are at a place called Kadesh-Barnea. The promised land, Canaan, is literally right over the hill. But there's a problem. No one living has ever set foot inside it. They've heard the legends of the Anakim, the giants, but they don't know if the stories are true. So Moses, acting on God's instruction, selects 12 men, not soldiers, leaders, 1 from each tribe, princes of the people. Among them are 2 names you know, Hoshea, whom Moses renames Joshua, meaning the Lord is salvation, from the tribe of Ephraim, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, from the tribe of Judah. The mission is simple. Go up into the south, see the land, see the people, and bring back fruit. They are told to be spies, but really they are being sent to be witnesses. For 40 days they traverse the length of Canaan. They see the lush valleys of Eshcol, the fortified cities, the agricultural bounty. It is everything God promised. Then they return. The report begins. We came to the land, and surely it floweth with milk and honey. The crowd murmurs with excitement. They hold up the grapes. The fruit is undeniable. But then the spy from the tribe of Reuben steps forward. His voice drops. He says the words that will damn a generation. Nevertheless, the people are strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. He uses the Hebrew word Nephilim, a term associated with the antediluvian giants, the stuff of nightmares. The 10 spies begin to speak over one another, their panic contagious. We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. They conclude with the most devastating psychological projection ever spoken. We were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. The psychology of fear has taken hold. In seconds, the nation forgets the 10 plagues of Egypt. They forget the splitting of the sea. They forget the water from the rock. All they can see is the grasshopper. The people begin to riot. They scream, "Would God that we had died in Egypt!" They propose electing a new captain to lead them back into slavery. And then Caleb steps forward. In the midst of a mob screaming for suicide and mutiny, Caleb silences the people. He doesn't negotiate. He doesn't offer a compromise. He says, "Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it." The 10 spies try to shout him down. "They will eat us alive," they scream. Then Joshua joins Caleb. They tear their clothes in grief, and then they deliver the pivotal line of the entire Torah. They look at the hysterical crowd and say, "If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us." They are bread for us. What a terrifying metaphor. Joshua wasn't saying the giants were easy to kill. He was saying that the very thing that scared them was the thing God would use to sustain them. But the mob doesn't listen. They pick up stones to kill them. Just as the stones are about to fly, the glory of the Lord appears. God speaks to Moses. His anger is kindled. He offers to wipe out the nation and start over with Moses. Moses, acting as the ultimate intercessor, begs God to spare them, not because they deserve it, but because the Egyptians would mock God's name if he failed to bring them in. God relents. He will not destroy them, but he will also not let them enter. The judgment is delivered. Because you have tested God 10 times, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness. For every day the spies search the land, the nation will wander. 40 years, 1 year for every day. But then, a grace note, a detail often missed. God says, "But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land." Joshua is spared as well, but here is the brutal irony. The nation, upon hearing they will die in the wilderness, suddenly decides they do want to fight. They arm themselves and rush up the mountain without Moses or the Ark of the Covenant. They try to take the land by their own strength, but without God's presence, they are routed. They tried to enter when God said no, because they refused to enter when God said go. Now the 40 years of wandering begin. For 40 decades, the grasshopper mentality had to die in the sand. Every single adult who voted for fear perished without seeing the promise. Only Joshua and Caleb remained. So why does this story matter today? Because we are standing at our own Kadesh-Barnea. The giants we face aren't always literal. They are impossibly high medical bills, the collapse of a marriage, a business that is failing, or the cultural pressures that tell us we are too small to make a difference. The voice of the 10 spies is the voice of mainstream logic. We are not able. Look at the size of the walls. Look at the data. It's impossible. Caleb and Joshua didn't deny the giants existed. They didn't pretend the walls weren't high. Their faith wasn't a denial of reality. It was a submission to a higher reality. They looked at the exact same circumstances and said, "They are bread for us." In Hebrew, the phrase "another spirit" used for Caleb is unique. It implies he had a different wind inside him. While the 10 spies were filled with the fear of fear, Caleb was filled with the Spirit of God. Fear asks, "What if I fail?" Faith asks, "What if God is telling the truth?" The tragedy of the wilderness generation is that they died with the fruit of the land in their hands. They had the grapes of Eshcol. They saw the promise, but they never got to taste it because they refused to trust the one who gave it. 45 years later, when Joshua divides the land, Caleb walks up to his commander. He's 85 years old. He says, "I am as strong this day as I was in the day Moses sent me. Now give me this mountain." He chose the mountain that belonged to the giants, the very place the 10 spies were terrified of, as his inheritance. He didn't want the easy land. He wanted the land that required the most faith. The question for us today isn't whether the giants are real. The question is, which report will you believe? Will you be like the 10 who saw the obstacles and turned back to the wilderness? Or will you have that different spirit, the one that sees the milk, the honey, and the promise waiting on the other side of the fight? I want to hear your thoughts. What is the mountain in your life right now that you refuse to let fear take from you? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into the text valuable, hit that subscribe button to join us for more stories behind the stories of Scripture. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.